Hello, good morning, welcome to Daft Puck and welcome to the Sunday Hockey Breakfast. Hope you're all doing well. Weather's much better today than it was last Sunday, I would say, but the main thing we are looking at today is some great action from last night in the NHL. Lots of storylines to go in with. Carolina Hurricanes putting their winning streak on the run. The Coyotes putting their unbeaten, winless run on the docket to try and get rid of, shall we say, and plenty of other stories too. So we will be getting into it, and I will say right there, we have a new website as well that's just launched, dafterspuck.uk, so check that out if you haven't done so already. It is now live. It's only in the early stages, but it is coming along quite nicely. So yes, I am Matt. As I say, it is a bit of a nicer Sunday morning than it was last weekend when you could hear the rain hammering against my window. But thankfully, it's a bit brighter. Obviously still cold. It is November now. And we are already starting to get the Christmas adverts coming out, aren't we? John Lewis and all of that stuff. All of the palaver around the Christmas adverts. Which is just far too early. But I guess a bit like last year, because of everything else we've had to deal with this year, can't complain too much, basically. A bit of joy in our lives, hopefully, if we can. So there we go. If you're watching live on a Sunday morning, then you can get involved via the chat on YouTube. So if you're watching on Twitter, you can go across to the YouTube channel, search your Daft Puck on YouTube, and you can join in on the chat. And if you're watching the video afterwards, feel free to put some comments in the comment section and I will do my best to catch them and reply. Before we go on, don't forget Wednesday wrap up on Wednesday at 8 PM UK time, and Well Oiled, the Oilers, Friday 9 PM UK time. A great win for the Oil on Friday night. Oh yes, my friend who supports Calgary claims that the way they beat the Rangers last night was the way a proper team does it. We obviously softened them up for them, not least Connor McDavid with his wonder goal, getting them all bamboozled and they couldn't recover. Clearly it was because of Connor McDavid's amazing goal that the old Flames were able to turn the Rangers over a bit more comfortably than we did, but don't worry about it. We will get to all of the details as we move along. So what hopefully I will be able to do today is bring up NHL.com, so we'll be able to go through the scores properly together. So let's have a quick look and see if we can. There we are. Woo! Hello in the corner over here. So yes, if you've not seen this show before, we've only done one so far. The idea of the Sunday Hockey Breakfast is essentially Sunday morning, I sit here with a cup of tea in my Oilers mug today, and go through NHL.com, go through all the scores, go through all the storylines, and I thought I might as well stream that live and join in if you'd like. So there are a few things here. I mean, the one thing I will quickly click on just to cover it, no surprise to anyone, it has to be said, Jeremy Colleton being fired as coach of the Chicago Blackhawks. Terrible start to the season, but to be fair, even in the home opener, the Blackhawk fans were booing this guy when he was announced. So he was on borrowed time with everything else that has gone on in that organisation over the last 2 weeks. Sacking your head coach is not necessarily the biggest story, is it? Let's be honest. But there we go. Derek King, who was the coach of Rockland, as was Jeremy Colleton previously, he has taken charge. A poison chalice, you might say? I don't know. I guess most of the people have now gone from all of the fallout from the investigation into sexual assault. So, and the season started really badly, hasn't it? So it's not as though the new manager is going to be on the block for any issues this year. You would think he can perhaps shape the team as he likes this year and then build on it next year. Not saying they're going to write off this season, but they may need to do something like that. I mean, they were already talking, Bowman and everyone were already talking about rebuild, that this was rebuilding year, which, you know, that's why Scroll down to this final bit. Expectations were high. Marc-Andre Fleury, Seth Jones, Caleb Jones, Tyler Johnson. This was not a team that was rebuilding. Nobody believes that for 1 second. They've got good talent there. I don't know. Can you see them turning it around? I'm not sure that's very likely. Not this season anyway. But there's definitely enough talent there and a lot of good players there that the new guy, Derek King, can take the team forward this season. Maybe somehow miracle run to try and get in the playoffs. Doesn't seem likely, but at least have a positive season from here and then build on it next year. I guess that's the way it goes. But there we are. Yes, Jeremy Colleton fired as coach of the Blackhawks. I doubt anyone would be surprised by that. So, that surprise out of the way. There are various stories going into the games last night. Let's start with this one. Hurricanes and Panthers. So, of course, the Hurricanes coming in to the game, the only team unbeaten, the only team that had not lost a game all the way through, 9-1-0, now haven't been beaten by the Panthers, who were the other team who were going great guns at the start of the season. And I was looking through the highlights. It seemed like Duclair was involved in everything. Let's have a look. Obviously, a 4-goal first period by the Panthers that really sealed the deal. And Duclair with the opener, 7th of the season. Just absolute annihilation in the first period. We'll look at the stats in a second. The Canes did come fighting back, as you would expect. Trejek with the power play goal to make it 2-4. But Duclair, I think that was in an empty net, if I remember correctly, with his 8th of the season, the Duke getting that goal. Let's see if we can scroll down here. Plenty of penalties. Shots on goal, so there we go. Let me bring that up a bit. First period, 6-15. Blimey. So the Hurricanes ultimately came back 32 apiece, but far too little too late for them. Let's look at the coverage. Declare Panthers hand Hurricanes' first loss for one short of record. Forward scores 4 points to end Carolina's season-ending winning streak at 9. There we go. Yeah. And that's a fair point from Jacob Saven. 9-1 is a great start. It's definitely a good start and gets us going in the right direction. Wasn't the start that we wanted tonight. That's fair enough. I mean, Duclair was exceptional. Andrew Brunette, of course, another guy who was new in the role, having taken over from Joel Quenville. Another guy who was sacked in the aftermath of the investigation, the sexual assault investigation, the former Blackhawks coach. So Brunette is there now. 3 power play goals to take a 4-0 lead in the first period. And that was, I guess, the real story of the game, wasn't it? That they gave away too many penalties in that first period. Florida took full advantage. And for all of the good play from the rest of the game from the Canes, they dug themselves too big a hole to get out of. So there we go. A good win for the Panthers. And still a very good start to the season for Carolina. But there went the one unbeaten start to the season. With, let's scroll up a little bit. There we go. Loads of the details. And with that one gone, we then turned attention to the Arizona Coyotes, who have been, I mentioned in the Wednesday wrap-up the other day, they've been known as the Phoenix Coyotes, and the Arizona Coyotes, they were the no-win Coyotes. But look what they did. They went and won. And this was the story of a night for a few teams, actually. A few teams getting leads early on and throwing them away. And that's what happened here, unfortunately, for the Seattle Kraken. 3-1 after the first period, but threw it away. 3-1 reverse in the final third period for the Coyotes to win it. Let's go into the details on NHL.com. Coyotes recover late against Kraken, get first win of season. Krause scores go-ahead goal for Arizona 13 seconds after Giordano ties it. Yeah, a mad one really. So Jordan Eberle starting the scoring off. Of course, he scored a hat-trick in the last game for the Kraken. First Kraken hat-trick. Yanni Gourde made it 2-0 down within the first minute of the game. You have to give a lot of credit to the Coyotes here, because talk about a feeling of here we go again. 2-0 down after 1 minute. Unbelievable, but they got back in it at least. And yeah, just kept going. And then again, look at this. Arizona took the lead. Phil Kessel with a second of the season on the power play to make it 4-3. Giordano levelled it up 4 apiece. The captain for the Kraken with less than a minute and a half left to the game. But straight back, Lawson Krause with his 4th of the season. Wow, what a turnaround. And full credit to the Coyotes, because they were under so much pressure. I mean, it has been an absolute disaster of a start. Frankly, they've been a bit of a laughing stock, and that's a horrible position to see a team in, but it's true. They've been doing so poorly during the game and during the season so far. Not even looking like winning in some of their games, just being completely outmatched, kind of men against boys sort of stuff. But that is a big comeback for them. Fair play to the Coyotes for recovering. A brutal loss for the Kraken, it has to be said. But there we go. That can be the way for new teams, I guess. So that was the other main story, and there were a few others along the way. One I did definitely want to pick out. In fact, there were a couple from memory. Let's go to the Golden Knights game first off. So yes, Canadiens having a really tough time of things this season. The Stanley Cup hangover is definitely in full effect out there in Montreal. They took a 2-0 lead in the first period. Nick Suzuki on the power play, and Toffoli getting the goals, but from there they got steamrolled, and that's a big loss. You go up 2-0 in the first period and chuck it away. That is tough. And the Golden Knights seem to be starting to get into some sort of form, don't they? So much hype coming into the season, and of course, just as the past week, signing Jack Eichel, he'll be out for, he hopes, about 3 months after surgery. We'll see. Probably sometime late February, it looks like his timeline might be. But there we go. Robin Lehner made 36 saves. Vegas Golden Knights scored their first 2 power play goals of the season in a come from behind 5-2 win against Montreal Canadiens at Bell Centre. So yes, Nick Suzuki and Tyler Toffoli with the first ones, but there we go. I mean, giving away penalties, it's a killer. As an Edmonton Oilers fan, our power play is the best in the league once again. So we know how difficult that is for teams. You don't want to try and... It's easy to say don't take penalties, but you've got to compete, you've got to play hard. And that's something that the Oilers are being able to do at the moment. They're kind of almost getting teams to be a bit wary of digging in, because they know if they concede a penalty, it's almost a certain goal at the moment for the way the Oilers are playing. But yes, power plays hurt the Canadiens here. Pietrangelo, Marchessault was not on a power play, but Coughlin was. And yeah, Chandler Stevenson, Brady McNabb. I think both of those were empty nets. I think at least one of them was. But there we go. Yeah. Tough loss, 5-2 for the Canadiens. And talk about tough losses, the same goes for the Penguins. I mean, they at least get a point for it going to a shootout. But what a game this one was. Against the Minnesota Wild in Pittsburgh. Kasperi Kapanen getting the hat-trick. So we got 2 goals in the first after Kaprizov got the scoring underway for the Wild. Completed the hattie in the third period. When I first watched it, I wasn't sure if somebody had tipped it actually, because he hit it from deep. But he was credited with a goal and a hat-trick. But there we are. 16-41 in the third period. Minnesota got to 3-4. And then Ryan Hartman, with 3 seconds left of regulation time, tied it up. Both of those goals were short-handed. No. Both of those goals were with the extra man, with the empty net. But Ryan Hartman with his 5th of the season Just 3 seconds left of regulation to tie it up. What a kick in the balls for the Penguins. And yes, the Wild won it in a shootout. So tough loss at the PPG Paints Arena for the Penguins. But a good win for the Wild. Let's look elsewhere. Let's go right to the top. So the early game yesterday, the European friendly game, was Lightning against Senators. I watched on the list, actually. Lightning looking good. Although the Senators did compete pretty well. Brady Tkachuk, the newly appointed captain, scored at the end of the second period to tie it up 2-2. But the Lightning took the game away. Stamkos, Palat, Sorelli getting the goals in the third period to take the game away from the Senators. Shaw got a goal at the end with a few seconds left, but yes, that was the game for the Lightning. He go to 6-3-2. Close that down. So Islanders and Jets. Islanders squeaking one. Not much going on in this game by the looks of it. Were there? Lee with the goal. 3 minutes 12 in the first period. Nelson with his 7th of the season inside the first minute of the third period. And that was all it is. Nothing from the Winnipeg Jets during this game. On the scoreboard, Wings and Sabres. I think this was another one where they came back. Yes, it was. So the Sabres took a 2-1 lead in the second. Let's have a look. Ah, yes. Moritz Seider. Putting on the Moritz, as I call him. Yeah, a winner for him. So great way to get your first goal in the NHL is an overtime winner. I will say Tyler Bertuzzi, 7th and 8th goals of the season. One of those was an absolute cracker. Put a lovely move on the opposition to wind his way through. I can't remember if it was the first one or second, but yeah, 4 points for Bertuzzi in this game. And Detroit Red Wings had lost their last four games, as it says in the headline there. So good win for them. Bit of a kick in the balls for the Buffalo Sabres, but they get a point at least. And in the few days since the Jack Eichel saga was finally pushed to one side, they did at least get a point in the game going to overtime. But yeah, disappointing to give up the lead with those 2 goals from Bertuzzi and then Moritz Seider. Go on, the German lad. A great way to get your first NHL goal, so good for him. There we are. Bruins and Maple Leafs. Yeah, Maple Leafs, they seem to be really kicking into gear. And would you believe it? It is coinciding. I shouldn't have clicked that one, should I? There we go. Would you believe it? Coinciding with Austin Matthews getting hot. So yeah, there we go. Toronto now 5 in a row. Matthews, Tavares each have scored twice. Campbell makes 42 saves. Yeah, really good going. Austin Matthews in the second period, both on the power play. Second one in particular, his 5th goal of the season, was just classic Austin Matthews blast from the point. Just what you always expect from him. I will never get over his silly little moustache. But other than that, he's a quality player, isn't he? And a good win for the Maple Leafs. Bruins kept in it, I guess. But yeah, the Maple Leafs look to be really hitting their stride right now. 5 wins in a row and climbing up the standings. With Austin Matthews starting to fire. Bad news for teams facing the Maple Leafs in the near future. We've done those 2. Capitals and Flyers. So the Flyers get a good win there. Ovechkin, no goal for Ovechkin. So still chasing down Brett Hull. But yes, good win for the Flyers in a tight game. Avalanche were beaten by the Blue Jackets. So Columbus are playing well this season, you know. I know they're not a fancy team, but they are playing well. 7 wins, 3 losses so far this season. Blue Jackets defeat Avalanche again on a late goal. So there we go. Blimey, look at this. Avalanche 2-1 up. Heading into the third, then 3 goals in the third period by the Blue Jackets. Yes, I saw this in the highlights. Burakovsky got 2 goals for Colorado to get them ahead. But yeah, Tough times. Borgstrand with the final goal. Cole Sillinger gave the Blue Jackets the lead. I always think of Butlins. No, it's Pontins who have Blue Jackets, isn't it? The Columbus Pontins, I call them. Or I will call them from now on. At the Nationwide Arena. Yes. Good for them, good win. Avalanche they keep taking one step forward and then a couple of steps back, don't they? So, I don't think anyone's too concerned about them ultimately getting into the playoffs, because I'm sure they will, but not quite going the way they want. Then the final two from yesterday, as I mentioned, the Flames took apart the Rangers, but that was a big assist to the Edmonton Oilers. I know it's usually the Battle of Alberta, but their Alberta neighbours did them a big favour there, surely, roughing up the Rangers, demoralising them, spinning their heads like a top. And the Flames were able to take advantage, and on the next day, with the Rangers playing back-to-back and getting a good win there, 6-0. I'm sure Jacob Markstrom made a whole pile of saves too. Let's have a look. Yep, Markstrom gets another shutout for Flames. Victory against Rangers. Leads the NHL with 4. Calgary's point streak extends to 10. They're really in good form right now. Really in good form. Got to give the Flames credit. And then finally, Devils and Sharks. So there we go. This one went to a shootout and the Devils prevailed. So a point apiece. Let's have a little look. Devils rally late, defeat Sharks in shootout for first win in 4 games. Colleton ties it with 2 minutes 56 left. There we go. So a bit of a shame for the Sharks. But still had a good start to the season, 6-4-1. And the Devils are 5-3-2. There we go. So those are the results from last night. And some interesting games. And especially a few there where teams will be very frustrated to give up leads and to give away valuable points. Although it's still very early in the season, just hurts your momentum, doesn't it? To give up goals and give up games like that. So, yes. An interesting set of results, and we'll have a look at the standings in a moment after this quick Danthers Puck promo. So doing fine. Rangers, again, lost the last 2 games against Edmonton and Calgary, so not a good time in Alberta for the Rangers, but still in second with 15. Pittsburgh struggling along. Sid only back for 1 game, then out with COVID, so 4-3-3 for them, 11 points on the season. Next up in the Atlantic, Florida, defeaters of the Canes, 10-0-1, 21 points on the board for the Panthers. Toronto are the team who are really making a charge with 5 wins in a row. And Tampa Bay recovering from their slightly lackluster start to the season. 6-3-2 now. Poor old Montreal. Stanley Cup seems a long way away, doesn't it? There we go. 3-10. Tough times for them. In the Western, so St. Louis Blues lead the way. They weren't in action yesterday. I suspect they're in action tonight. We'll have a quick look in a moment. Good win last night. Come from behind win for the Minnesota Wild, who are now on 14 alongside the Jets. Arizona right at the bottom, 12 games in, 1-10-1. They finally get the first bit of the season in their 12th game of the season. 3 points for them. Colorado, still the team who you expect to win this division. But, yeah, languishing in the midfield right now. And finally, in the Pacific, boom! The great Edmonton Oilers lead the way. Never mind the Flames. Calm down, Flames. Yes, you got a good win last night, but that was the big assist from the Edmonton Oilers and helping you out there, roughing up the Rangers the night before. So Edmonton 9-1 through the first 10 games. Calgary 7-1-3. San Jose, decent start. And a team everyone thought would be winning this division, Atlanta. The Vegas Golden Knights are 6-5, seem to be coming back a little bit. Obviously, they've got quite a few players out injured at the moment. So, yes, I am certainly not counting the Vegas Golden Knights out from winning the division just yet. That's for sure. But good times. Okay, there we go. So, that was a lot of fun going through the scores. The one technical snafu of forgetting to unmute my microphone. I will, if you're watching this on repeat, you probably will not know this because I suspect I would have edited it out. Doesn't make for great content if you can just see some idiot talking for 2 minutes without actually being able to hear it. But otherwise, it's all gone fine, and it's been an interesting night of hockey last night. So good to catch up on all of those scores, and we will have a look, if I can. Let's get back onto it. Here we go. So these are league games for tonight. Golden Knights and Red Wings, so no early one today for us European fans. Golden Knights against Red Wings. Predators at Chicago, so first game for the new coach there. See if that brings some luck. The Blues are indeed in action tonight against the Ducks. Islanders and the Wild playing back-to-back. Both of those teams playing back-to-back. And the Stars and Canucks getting going with the latest game. There we go. So that is what is on the board for Sunday. Don't forget, new website has just been launched, daftaspuck.uk. We are available on Twitter at daftaspuck. And the other two live streams we do during the course of the week, alongside Sunday Hockey Breakfast, are the Wednesday wrap-up on Wednesday 8 PM here in the UK, where we look at all 32 teams, and well-oiled, the Edmonton Oilers live stream on Friday at 9 PM UK time. There we go. Okay, that was a lot of fun. Good to talk to you all as per usual. If you're on the videos on YouTube, then do leave a comment commenting on how your team is getting along, and I will see you on Wednesday for the wrap-up. And I will remember to check I haven't muted my microphone next time. Have a good Sunday all, and I will see you again on Wednesday evening, 8 PM UK time for the Wednesday wrap-up.